Congresswoman Michele Bachmann, and I'm so honored to have her here today. We would probably give it to her every single year if we could. And she's also been in our last two Great American Conservative Women calendars, so please join me in welcoming her.
I have to tell you, it was a great honor to be given the Loose Woman Award. You could have come up with a different name. But that's really what it is. So it can be a little embarrassing, especially I come from a very tough neighborhood. I'm from Minnesota. In our state, we have contributed to the nation Hubert Humphrey, Eugene McCarthy, Walter Mondale, Paul Wellstone, and Al Franken. That is my neighborhood, and I am the first Republican woman ever to get elected out of the state of Minnesota. In Minnesota that I'm a loose woman, so especially because I've had so many kids. But maybe that explains it. But I'm very thrilled to be able to be here again with you. And I was told that I have to go and speak somewhere else, so I'm sorry I can't stay to hear S.E. Cupp, who is awesome, and also things, but she's one of the biggest movers and shakers here in Washington, D.C. She's extremely influential. And Cleta Mitchell, you need to understand, she is all about rooting out corruption, and she knows where all the dirt is. So you've got to get great stories from Cleta Mitchell. This really is an amazing panel that Claire Blue's put together. And of course, the entire purpose is to inspire the next generation of young conservative women to get on board. It is fun to be a conservative. We have a great time. Look at this, their heads are nodding. We have so much fun taking on the left, and so the big question that you've been hearing asked the last few months is, why is it always women that are the ones out there taking on a lot of these liberal guys? I don't know what the answer to that is. We have come into a gold mine of fun. We have so much fun taking these guys on. We can't stop. It almost gets addictive after a while because it's fun to take them on. But I will tell you, just for me personally, especially the young girls that are here, in my remarks that I was making in admiration of Mrs. Schlafly, I really am serious about this when I want to say to you that for women here, as much fun as we have in politics, don't forget about getting married. Don't forget about doing that. Marriage is a highly undervalued basis of our society today in America. And I didn't come here to give a policy speech. I came here to encourage women. But I want to give you this statistic that's really quite sobering. In 1960, the out-of-wedlock birth rate in the United States, and I'm not judging anyone, don't get me wrong, I'm not condemning and I'm not judging. But in 1960, the out-of-wedlock birth rate was 5%. Today, almost 40% of all babies that are born in America are born without the privilege and benefit of a married mother and father. Now, I didn't come from a perfect family. My parents were divorced. There was a lot of trouble in our home. But one thing that I learned is I wanted to have a happy home. That's all I wanted in life. I wanted to be a happy mother of children. And I scored big time. I've been married 32 years to a great man. He's a physician. They're great kids. None of them are doing time right now in jail. At least not that I know. And both of us have broken hearts for at-risk kids. And so we took 23 foster children into our home, and we were privileged to raise them and graduate them from high school and launch them into the world. And so I am the old woman in this series. That's who I am. I want to say this to you, because in the midst of all the great fun that we have in the political world, the real world is the world that you'll create if you're a young woman with your husband and with the children that you will perhaps be privileged to bear. It is the greatest profession in the world. And as Phyllis said, the feminists can't do enough to tell us, and it's the entire left, can't do enough to tell us that that is a diminished job, to be a wife and a homemaker at home. I'll tell you, I was a wife and a homemaker at home when I was struck to come and be involved in politics. Why? Because it was my 11th grade foster daughter who brought home in the backpack her 11th grade algebra. And her homework was coloring a poster for 11th grade algebra. And I thought, something isn't quite right here, because if anyone needs a leg up, it's my foster children. And they need good basic skills in education. And that led me, I was a tax lawyer. I had a doctorate degree and a postdoctorate degree in tax law. I spent all of my career working in the U.S. Federal Tax Court. But when we had all these kids, I stayed home full time. And when I was home full time and devoted to mothering, I saw what the curriculum was that they brought home. And I realized these kids wouldn't have the future that they deserve. And our businesses wouldn't have the employees they need if we have kids that are undereducated. Well, we're reaping part of the benefits. Let me cut to the chase and tell you that I became involved politically because of what I saw happening in my community. I wanted to make it better. And it's a long story that I don't have time to tell you, but I ended up being urged to run for the state Senate and then eventually now in the United States Congress. And I really believe life is so short. It's very short, the time we have here. Make the most of it. So when I was in the state Senate, I quickly became the #1 target of Democrats to defeat. Every blooming election, I was their #1 choice because I decided to redeem the time and make use of that time in the state Senate. There's all kinds of opportunities in Minnesota. And now here in the Congress, it's the same way. There's opportunity everywhere you turn. So make the most of your opportunities, ladies and men, because we have a great future in front of us. But in the meantime, don't forget the priority of marriage, raising great kids, and establishing a family, because that is the foundation of our great society, strong families. So thank you for allowing me to come, and I'm sorry I won't be able to be with you to hear these two great women clear and answer your questions.